Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL Podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, JA, and I am joined, as always, by my great mate, my Tampa Bay Bucks super fan, mega fan, Richie Garraway. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, look, we just found out tonight we're going into another 2 weeks of lockdown, which will will break the record for the longest lockdown in the world in Melbourne, Victoria. So I just wanted to thank the state government for all their hard work and also thank the people that decided to have an engagement party with 2 positives on the weekend and super spread again. So thank you to them.
To those people in particular, fuck you.
Fuck you
up your stupid asses.
Yep. And you know what? They're already coming and going, oh, do you know how many messages we're getting about it? Yep. You've made your bed. Fucking enjoy.
I hope they get sent hate mail as well. Good old-fashioned mail, handwritten.
And I was thinking about it. Like, me and you are pissed off, right? We're annoyed because we want to go back to football and we want to have our lives back, right? Which is totally fair. There are people that are going to lose their jobs from this. There are people that are going to kill themselves from this because the suicide rate is continuing to get higher. There are people that are going to be affected way worse than us. And I just really want to highlight the next level of selfishness you must have to put yourself having a fucking engagement party above all that. Like, it's just, there are people that can't celebrate the death of their loved ones because of lockdowns, and you think it's okay to have 120 people at your house. And then have you seen the video of them joking about it? It's just sickening. Fucking really boils my blood. But you know, we're not a politics show, Richie. But I just wanted to I like to use my whatever platform we have here to express our feelings, and fuck you, those guys. And if you are thinking of doing that, pull your head in and think about someone else other than yourself, because I'd love to go and have a beer with my mates too and enjoy my life, but we can't. So everyone does. Everyone's got issues. Think about the bigger picture, though. You could be really affecting people's lives in ways that you don't understand. So don't be selfish pricks. That's the message of the show. But that being said, let's get into other people who are affected by this sort of bullshit. Our good friends at Burnley Brewing. Absolutely love Burnley Brewing's work. What do you got?
My second last coffee brown.
Oh. So do you know, the winner of last month was our good friend Vegan up in Queensland.
Sunny Queensland.
Toowoomba. And he said to me that the coffee was good, but he preferred the raspberry. I think he said the raspberry.
No way.
What did he say? I want to double check.
Those styles are very, very different.
How's
that raspberry's a Nipah, isn't it?
No, he said mango pineapple lager, which is actually. Have you had that one?
Yes. Yeah, I have had that. It's good.
It's actually very good. I've got some in my wall of beer behind me. So I'll have to drop. I think I'm due to drop off a box to you, Richie. So I'll make sure I do.
They're in a different wheelhouse.
Very tasty.
The coffee brown, actually, for those who, brown ales are rare. There are not a lot of them, and the only one that's really commercially made and available is the classic Newcastle brown from
not
from the UK, and it's
not from Burnley.
It's fine. It's a good mass-produced brown because there's not many. What they did with that coffee brown, though, it borders in the area of stouts and heavier beers, but it's not that far, and the coffee's not too strong. It's just a great beer. Like, good on you, Burnley. I reckon it's the best thing they've ever produced. It's amazing.
I think alone we have earned our sponsorship purely from our just genuine coffee beer. And the people just say all the time, they're like, is it really that good? The people that know me, they're like, you don't even really like coffee. And I'm like, trust me, it's on another level, this beer.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm all about it. Also, our second sponsor, our very good friends at Dark Horse Electrics. Their operator, owner, complete legend, Kansas City Chiefs superfan, Dylan. If you need any electrical needs, give him a follow. Give him a call. I can promise you I use him personally in a lot of my work. I'm a construction supervisor, and Dylan is my absolute go-to guy. So you cannot go wrong with him. Make sure you give him a look. And make sure, guys, go to Burnley Brewing, go to Dark Horse Electrics, give them all a follow, a like, hit them up. Show them the support, show them the love that the community can bring them. Richie, we did the the Patreon break last couple of weeks ago live on the show. Went to the Great Man Junior. I was really rapt for Junior because he's a big Juju Smith-Schuster fan and Steelers fan. So it was good to see it go to a good home. Next month, it's in a bag over there. I won't get it out. If you want to go see it, go to the last one. It's a Keenan Allen signed jersey, which is an awesome prize. Keenan Allen's an absolute outstanding player for the LA Chargers. So make sure you get around that. So we had a couple of new people sign up. And my good mate, Ryan Leggett, former Ranger, having a year off this year to be a firefighter, which is really cool. He signed up this week. So shout out to you, Lego. Absolutely love your work, mate. Missing you around the club. So I hope you're doing well and don't be a stranger. But thank you to all our patrons. It seriously goes a long way to helping the studio and continue helping us continue to grow. So appreciate you guys. And I think we're only 3 off. We get 3 more. We go to 2 signed memorabilia a month. So get on to your mates. Said you want to double your chances basically of getting it. And if we get to 30, which is 13 off, I'll start doing full-size helmets. And that's what, that should be the goal. Because full-size helmets are sick, as you can see to my horrible addiction I have behind me. And keep messing with my cabinets and building new things. I've never thought I'd care so much about a room, Richie. I just constantly Sophie's like, oh, you're always just fiddling down there. And I'm like, yeah, it's my space. It's my area. It's my spot. That's mine. I can do what I want. I can have it how I want. It's cool. So, get in the patrons. Richie, tonight we are doing the NFC East. So just a little bit of procedural works for the next couple of weeks. We've got preseason started, which... Did you have any massive takeaways from the preseason, Rich? Anything?
Only all the rookie quarterbacks looked okay.
Lawrence,
that was probably my biggest takeaway.
When they could protect him, I'm terrified that Lawrence is going to get killed this year because
he was just running around.
The Jags O-line's not very good, and their receiving group's not phenomenal either. So that's the concern there. But Justin Fields was a standout for me. He looked outstanding. The other thing, Zach Wilson, he wasn't that good. He didn't play, but his arm is fucking live, man.
That's what I was saying. The whole
shit.
That's why I said I kind of think he might be the best one. I said it. I think the week before the draft show,
mate. He oh my god,
it's for real. It's for real.
Now he needs to learn some touch. That's what he needs to learn, which will take time. But mate, his receivers, literally, that ball was coming out and the camera couldn't keep up with them. How quickly it reminded me of a better version of Ryan Mallett a few years ago, because Ryan Mallett had a lot of problems. Man, he had a cannon. It was very similar to that, but yeah, he impressed me.
It's effortless too. It's Michael Vick effortless.
Quick as well, real quick release, which is really important. I can see watching him. Except everyone knows I'm not a big college guy, but watching him throw it around, I could see where the attraction was in Zach Wilson. It became pretty clear. Lunch tray threw a nice touchdown pass, 80 yards, which was cool. It was a good play. He made a few mistakes, but all reports are he's very good in camp. Very, very good. Old lunch tray.
He'll be starting quick, I think.
I think so too.
He just and he left the pocket a couple of times where he didn't need to, but then a couple of the other times where he did need to, he can buy time. He can find receivers on the move. He's got to protect the football better than what he did, though. But all in all, hey, if you're a Bears fan, you're like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, he looked good. Who's the other one that threw the big 8? Oh, just not a rookie, but Drew Lock put a bit of a dent into that starting role, because that throw he threw, which literally I reckon went almost 80 yards in the air. Look, Teddy Bridgewater's a lot of things, but he can't do that. And that's the stuff that coaches look at and go, holy shit. Not many guys can make those throws. And Drew Lock, again, has a lot of flaws and has shown a lot of flaws, but that's the stuff that's going to win him that job. I'm telling you, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think they're going to roll with him.
Me either. Their problem right now is that coaching staff must be a millimeter away from saying the line, oh, I think we've got 2 starters, which means you have none.
What do they say? Who's the old line? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any?
Exactly. It's 100% what it is. And I think that's where they are, to the point where who's the backup running back there behind Melvin Ingram? I said Melvin Gordon, sorry.
In Denver?
Yeah. Backup running back's escaping my name, but I reckon he is going to get a ton of work this year, because he had a reasonable year last year, and with no quarterback play, and Gordon will just break.
Royce Freeman?
I can't remember who it is. I'll look it up. But
you're not thinking of the one that like Philip Lindsay that's not there anymore.
No.
No.
Someone else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But that'll be interesting. That'll be a run first team.
Just keep in mind though, everyone out there and all the people that might be a bit new to football, preseason means shit. It doesn't mean anything.
And if anyone's betting on it, dear God, stop.
Yeah, don't bet on preseason.
Don't bet on the preseason.
Yeah,
unless you're betting over under season totals. That's fine.
And the common thing with preseasons are the offenses really struggle and defenses tend to do better. The scores are lower, and it's because offense is way harder to get. Not harder to play. I'm not saying defense isn't hard. Offense is harder to get right. There's a lot more to it to get it right. Whereas defense, if you line up correctly and know your role, you can get it done. Whereas the offense relies on everyone knowing their role and lining up correctly to be efficient and score. And also mistakes, penalties, all that sort of stuff.
Officiating. They officiate it so much tougher in the preseason to get the guys ready for new rule interpretations and all those sorts of things. They do officiate it tighter in the preseason. There was a drive I was watching during the week. I swear there were 8 plays and there were 7 penalties.
Yeah, it's always like that. They do it on purpose.
In the preseason, they will always officiate it harder to almost set a baseline. It's like, okay, this is what we've got to do, and this is how we've got to. And players will adjust. Officiating comes back a little bit, and that's where you are for the season. So, for all those reasons, preseason football is terrible. But the next round of games should be the one to keep an eye on if you're really trying to work out starting jobs.
They'll play most of the first half normally in week 2, and then week 3 is just, unfortunately, week 3 are special teamers and guys who are about to get cut the next day.
Yeah,
and
it's cannon fodder day.
It's not terrible because there's a lot of guys that are, playing for that chance to maybe steal that last spot, or to make a practice squad or for someone else to notice them. So there is some passion and some effort, but yeah, it's not something I'd line up for or certainly take the day off. Just quickly, the Colts. So Wentz obviously out injured. Bit of a battle between Jacob Eason, Sam Ellinger. Got some first team reps. Eason got to start this week. Ellinger's going to start next week. The reports are they're battling for the number 2, but I've got a certain Texas fan in my ear that reckons that Ellinger is the man and might be better than Carson Wentz, which I said that's not too big a call. Carson Wentz has been fairly average the last 2 seasons, but both of them performed fairly well. They're a little bit up and down as you expect, but Ellinger, big dude, big arm, can move a bit, tough dude, scored a game-winning touchdown. I know it's preseason, but game-winning drive, no matter what situation, that's a bit of pressure on you. They both kind of impressed me there at the Colts. I don't think Wentz is, if Wentz plays like he did last year, one of those guys will take his spot at some point.
I don't know. I'm not as sold. I mean, if Ellinger was that good, everybody would know more about him. But I can line up 50 NFL fans.
Gardner Minshew type of situation with Ellinger.
Gardner Minshew's not the guy either, and he's not going to get it done.
No, I'm not saying he's the guy, but I'm saying Gardner Minshew was basically 7th round pick or something like that, and then got to play meaningful snaps for a team.
Yeah.
The only difference is that if he could, Ellinger or Eason could play meaningful snaps for a team that's very good in a lot of areas. Yeah,
but they might not be very good if the guy in the center isn't very good. So
keep in mind, they won 9 games with Jacoby Brissett. Just let that sink in. Or maybe 10 games a couple of years ago. So I think it's Wentz's team. I think we all know it's Wentz's team. But there's reports are Wentz is in front of his recovery, and they think potentially he could play week 1. I don't believe that. I think he'll miss a couple. So as I said, in the words of Rex Ryan, one of these fuckers have to play for week 1 and 2. So that's what I mean. They might be fighting for the number 2 job right now, but they're fighting for a chance to start a couple of games.
Yeah, and if you're playing over-under rookie quarterbacks, if you'd got an Ellinger early enough, I reckon his over-under would have been half a game.
Yep.
So there's every chance you're gonna roll that. But look, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I think he's okay. He didn't take Texas places. I mean, he's not like Vince Young, who literally picked up the Texas program, which hadn't been that good before he got there and has been dog shit since he left, and he dragged them to a national championship. Now Texas fans aren't going to give. Well, some will give him the credit and some won't. But This is a guy who was uber elite at college.
Yeah.
Like uber elite. And if you want proof of it, go put on the Rose Bowl game for the national championship, him versus USC with Matt Lyon at under center on the other side of the game. They're one of the best college football games of all time.
Matt Lyon.
Amazing. Incredible.
Busts. What a couple of busts. Yeah. The other one that I found interesting was New Orleans. Neither Winston or Taysom Hill were any good.
What a shock.
I would describe them as incredibly average.
I've been leading this marching band straight down Bourbon Street in New Orleans, telling them they don't have a quarterback and they're going to have a bad year.
Plus, Michael Thomas, from all reports, wants out, and he's being a massive dickhead about it. Old slant boy is just, he is being a typical prima donna wide receiver. He must have been hanging out with Terrell Owens in the off season because he's carrying on like an idiot, and for no reason. He's like the second highest paid receiver in the league. I don't know what his problem is.
I think his biggest problem is he knows the quarterback suck and that team's not going to be good.
And his
just had
production
enough
has dropped dramatically because Drew Brees isn't there to spoon feed him anymore. I'm not saying Michael Thomas is a bad player, but like when Jenkins called him a slant boy, he wasn't lying. He's a short route specialist. He's not a guy that goes downfield, and to do those routes, you need a quarterback that has timing and accuracy, and that's what Drew Brees had. He had arguably the best ever in the NFL in terms of accuracy and timing. Like his accuracy in a season is, I think he's got like the top 5 seasons in terms of pass percentage accuracy. So people will say, "Oh, that's because of the scheme they ran." I'm like, man, anyone can run. If anyone could run a scheme that got 70%, wouldn't you just copy Sean Payton and do it? There's a reason teams don't do it, so they didn't have Drew Brees to run it. Like, I'm sorry, because if that was the case, if it was just, you run Payton's scheme and you throw it 70%, everyone would have just done it and copied him, which I'm sure everyone has tried to copy what he does, including all his coaches, his coaching tree that have now gone on to coach elsewhere. So, it doesn't work that way. Quickly before we move on as well, I just had one more point. Joe Flacco plays for the Eagles.
I knew this would come up. I don't think Jalen Hurts is. I don't think it's Jalen Hurts there, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think he's any good, and I've been happy to say that for a couple of years. I think Flacco might start. The Eagles are going to stink.
Well, we're going to talk about the Eagles tonight, but I don't know. I'm a bit torn by them. Also, the other one, the guy we didn't talk about, old McCorkle down in New England. He looked exactly what I imagined him to look like. Little dink and dunks, just drop it off to guys to make plays. But the beauty of the Patriots is that's all they're going to ask you to do as a quarterback is do what you need to do, and Josh McDaniels will scheme it up to get guys open. And if he can hit the passes, that's what Cam Newton's problem is that he can't hit the dink and dunks. He can only hit the 60-yarders or run with it. Whereas McCorkle, I don't know. I think Cam Newton will get the start. I think he'll play okay early, and then like last year, it'll go off a cliff because teams will go, well, hold on, if he can't run, he's terrible. Let's just force him. Let's just make sure he can't beat us running, and we'll take our chances with him throwing. And then McCorkle will be in there. And you know what? I'm going to call him McCorkle forever. I don't care what everyone calls him Mac Jones. His name's McCorkle. I'm calling him the Cork. If he ends up like, you know how many guys look at him uncork that ball for a touchdown. I can't wait. For it comes. But I think that's most of the preseason. As I said, preseason week 1's okay. You see a few guys. I like seeing the guys later in the games that are, really fighting for spots. It's cool to watch them. But there's also some guys that you sit there and go, like, I'm sure they kill any local league or other league below. Of
course they would.
Look at some of these guys and you're like, you are just not on the same level as some of these dudes out here, which is amazing. I guess all forms of football have that, guys that are just on the low end of the totem pole.
Absolutely, and really, at the end of the day, the preseason is there for 2 things. One, to get everybody in sync. It's why the league started so poorly last year because they didn't get to have camp. Yep. The second thing it's for is getting your starting 53 ready. And that requires another 40 schmoes coming down and being camp legs, camp arms, camp receivers. You need those guys. Now, every now and then, you find a diamond in the rough. And you're like, wow. And they make it. But most of those guys just come in and out. They bounce in and out of 4 practice squads. They go to 4 different preseason camps, and they're out of the league, and they finish their career with 4 games.
Yeah.
That's what most of those guys who don't make the 53s and make the, come into camp when the rosters are 90,
almost double what it's going to be when you play.
And they all get chopped. And that's hard, but...
Most GMs and coaches will tell you they know they're 40. They know they're 40, 42 before they even get into the camp. Like,
of course they do.
Really, you're fighting for almost 10 spots plus practice squad. But you got 10 practice squad members.
You're normally the only position that is available is the last spot in every single position group.
Yeah,
so
unless someone blows the door off and just dominates, then you're like.
But even then, they get that last one.
Yeah,
they get the last one.
Yeah,
and the person you might have had penciled there. Exactly, the guy you might have last penciled there drops off, and then as you said, you might get onto a practice squad, which has been expanded in the last couple of years, and you get to hang out for the whole year, earning your, I don't know what a practice squad guy gets, $1,000 a week or something.
No, it's $6,000 a week.
A week?
$6,000 a week.
Practice squad?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Minimum wage for the NFL is 900,000, 980,000. That's the minimum.
Doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's the minimum they can. Oh, that's vet minimum, actually. I think rookie minimum might be higher or lower. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and find it. 660,000 is the minimum.
Minimum, yeah. And then I think practice squad, I'm certain it's $6,000 a week. Certain of it. I'll look it up.
Well, if you're getting 60,000 for 17 games, yeah.
Sorry, I was wrong.
Right.
$8,400 per week. So you'll earn $142,000 for 17 weeks.
Which...
If you're over 2 years of experience, you get $12,000 per week.
Yeah, that's why they don't carry those guys, because it basically costs you. It's basically costs you double. But yeah, I mean, just coming back to the preseason, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's for. It's to get the 53 ready to play. We need 40 of you to help the other 53 get ready to play. That's what you're there for. That's it. Preseason is. You've got 3 games in camp to work it out.
Yeah, spot on. All right, let's roll in to the NFC East. As always, we will start from the bottom. We'll work our way up. And as we discussed not too long ago, Richie, minutes ago, some would say, we'll start with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think you kind of nailed it before. I was looking at their lineup for offense in particular. You're relying on guys that are unproven to show you something. I know Ertz has been there a while. There's reports he's going to get traded. Devonta Smith is a rookie, high pick rookie, and with a lot of promise. You've got Jalen Reagor, again, a second-year guy who wasn't good in his rookie year.
He a frog.
Is Reagor a frog?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Emmanuel Sanders, is it Emmanuel Sanders, the running back? No, Miles Sanders, the running back.
Miles.
Who's into his 3rd year, I believe, but, hasn't been – he's been okay, shown flashes. You got Jalen Hurts. I'm really happy for our Aussie mate Jordan Mailata, who looks like he's going to start at left tackle. But again, an unproven guy in the rigors of an NFL season. Trust me, no one hopes more that he's an outstanding football player because his story is incredible. But you're relying on young guys.
Sorry, speaking of Aussies, is Matt Leo still there?
Yeah, Matt Leo's playing on he's defensive end still as well.
He's still there as a part of that International Pathways program?
No, he's just a genuine roster now. There's no he only got it for 1 year. He's genuinely on the team, so we have to see if he makes the cuts. But fingers crossed. Yes, there's a couple of reasons to root for the Eagles, which I haven't done in the past. And trust me, I want Jordan Mailata to be better, to be really good, more than almost anyone. But it's hard. The NFL's really hard, and he hasn't been great yet, but he's improved. So there's chance there. But then you've got Lane Johnson on the other side, who we were talking 3 years ago. Yeah, he's the best right tackle in the NFL, but we're not talking 3 years ago. He's older now. Brandon Brooks, who I think is their best offensive player, is coming off an Achilles tear. He's a big man. Those guys don't recover quickly. And again, he's getting up there in age. He's 31.9 according to Pro Football Focus. So he's almost 32 years old. Jason Kelsey, again, we're talking 2 years, 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. Yeah, I love him, but he's almost 34 years old. Like they're aging out. So you're relying on a lot of youth come through, and a lot of guys that are unproven to develop really quickly, quicker than what you'd expect them to. An unproven quarterback who didn't show a lot last year and, wasn't drafted that highly either, or Joe Flacco. The offense scares me. I just don't know where the consistency is going to come from.
I'll give you the rundown.
Yeah,
they are devoid of talent.
See, I don't think that's. I think there's talent there. I just don't know how good it is yet. I don't know how.
Well, then that's not talent, and that's the problem.
You're relying on.
You're using the dirtiest word that's in football, and that's potential.
Mm-hmm.
Potential gets you fired.
Yeah.
Now, they might be good, and there might be potential, but I don't know that. You don't know that. The whole league doesn't know that, because right now I believe there is a devoid of talent at the Philadelphia Eagles. No more than a quarterback. If Joe Flacco is starting games for these guys, he is finished, washed up, done.
He's done 3 years ago.
I think you can't start him. You have to start Jalen Hurts, even if you don't know if he's any good.
You're taking chances.
Like I'm sure, and when I say any good, I'm always talking to the NFL standard. Of course he's good. He's in the NFL. But I can't see a universe where Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. I just can't see it.
And then you roll to the defense. I'm 3 years ago, Cox, Graham, they're getting me excited. They're not now. Fletcher Cox is still good, but he's not a top 10 guy anymore. He's probably not even a top 20 or 30 guy anymore. They're just the facts. He's only 30. He's come off a couple of injuries. Maybe he can turn it around. Maybe he can have a couple more good years, but interior.
But only good ones.
Hard. Yeah, interior defensive line is hard to dominate for so long.
Damn right it is.
JJ Watt, he was one of the best defensive players for 5 years, and now he's just a dude. He's just a dude now.
Yeah.
Graham's the same on the edge. He's a hard worker and a solid player, but they're not going to change games for you. And I like Darius Slay, but there's a reason Detroit didn't want him. If Detroit don't want to pay you all the money, it's not that he's a bad player. I could probably argue that he's a top 10 corner. I could probably argue that he's around that 10 mark. But
do you remember? I remember when you and I were doing. It must have been 4 or 5 years ago. You and I were doing an all-pro team, and we both had Darius Slay as the nickel. We're all excited that both of us had noticed how good he was. That was 5 years ago, man.
Exactly.
This league moves fast, and it moves really fast in the secondary.
Detroit doesn't want to pay. He's 31 now, Darius Slay. That's the thing. You at this point, you're playing for his past success.
He will be above average.
Yes, he will.
But you can't have a team of just above average players.
No, you need to have.
You have elite.
Yeah, you need to have a couple of elite guys, and I just don't know where that's coming from anywhere on this team. I don't know yet. And at this point, if they're your question marks and there's no answers to them, I'm not sure.
No.
I just don't think, and I don't think these guys. I'm not gonna get behind a quarterback that didn't show a lot last year. I think they'll have flashy moments. They'll probably put 40 on the Cowboys one game this year, and everyone will think, God, Hurts has got a future. They'll probably have a couple of good games, but consistency is going to be a real issue, because that's what happens when you don't have quality proven players. You don't have consistency, and the good teams are consistent. That's what it is.
And the hardest thing is
consistent.
Yeah, the hardest. They're coming off a train wreck of a season last year,
Their
proper
coach,
train wreck.
Everything's a train wreck. They literally signed Carson Wentz 2 years ago. He's not even on their fucking team anymore. They won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and their coach and starting quarterback aren't on the team. And the hero that won it for him, Nick Foles. None of it. That's not good. That just shows that they were a flash in the pan, and that's what I think they're going to be this year. I think they'll be bottom of the division. I really do. And I said what I'm excited for this team, and I want Matt Leo on the team. That's the first thing. Come on,
100%.
Get there, make the team. That'd be huge for him coming from that pathway program. And then I don't want Jordan Mailata to play 17 games. I want him to play well. I want him to play really well and be a good left tackle. I like him. The story's insane.
I just think he's going to start. I really do.
I think he'll definitely get the starting spot. I'm almost certain. But it's just about how well can he play, and his story. I mean, I play offensive line at a dog shit level. To imagine him never playing and then being able to be where he is right now, to be on a team as a left tackle, which is the hardest position to play on the offensive line. It's incredibly impressive. It's nothing but respect there from me. Let's move on to my Dallas Cowboys, Rich. You start us off. You start us off with the Cowboys. What are you liking about them?
The shitloads of talent that's on that team. That's what I like about them. Now, I also thought that last year.
And the year before.
Not so much the year before. I think you'll find I was off them the year before. Yeah. But last year, I think you remember our preseason show. I had him in the Super Bowl.
I remember.
And then it all came undone because of Dak. Now,
it's hard to blame because the offense was still really good without Dak. The offense was good with Andy Dalton. Let that sink in. It's got talent.
But it's not. They've got talent. There's shitloads of it.
The wide receivers. I'm telling you, argue with me on any other team that's got three better guys. I'll argue black and blue with you. Now, the Steelers, I like their depth but the Steelers don't have one guy. Yeah, Bucks, I'll argue with you.
Yeah.
But, I think you could make a point for both of them. That's what I mean. Yeah. I think they're loaded. Cooper, arguably Cooper might be the worst wide receiver of the three of them. I honestly reckon Gallup's the best.
I told you that last year.
And Cooper's outstanding. And people are like, he's been around. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime right now. And then you've got Lamb and Gallup. I just hope they've got enough money to pay Gallup. I hope they can get rid of the Ezekiel Elliott contract so they can get Gallup re-signed. Because with Zeke's money, you could sign 3 Gallups. That's the terrifying part. And that's, I guess, just talking about the offense. Zeke's in great shape. He looks really fit. Hard Knocks. It was fun seeing him on Hard Knocks. I'd never seen his personality before. I don't think I'd ever seen him quite in depth. I really liked him. He was real funny and a bit dopey, a bit of a doofus, but a likable one.
Perfect running back. Hey, doofus, here's the football. Go smack through there.
I did. I enjoyed him. And then just while we're on it, Dak Prescott I would have thought Prescott would have been a bit more goofy than what he was, but he was fucking intense, man.
How's that scar?
Oh, yeah.
How's the scar from the surgery?
Mate, when they showed that video again with the ankle sideways, you forget.
Hanging out.
I can remember sitting there at bloody 5 o'clock in the morning messaging you just being like, I feel sick. It
was pretty bad.
I was devastated for him. But he said it's the offensive line, everyone stays healthy. Martin's still a top guy.
They're expecting a healthy Tyron Smith, Landell Collins, and Zach Martin. That's the key. They're expecting the three of them to be 100% for the whole year.
Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins didn't play a game last year. They did not play a game for them. And then their backup got hurt for the year too. They played with the 3rd string and 4th string tackles the whole year.
Yeah.
Lyle Collins the year before was one of the best right tackles in the NFL. And he's 25. It's not like he's aged out. He's 28, sorry. I'm a bit off, but he's not old. And Smith, everyone thinks, Smith is getting old, He's 30. He's 30 years old.
Yeah, he's not old at all.
He was drafted as a 19-year-old. People forget that. When he signed his 8-year deal, he was literally 22 years old in his 5th year in the NFL. So this is the thing. The offensive line's great on paper. Connor Williams, from all reports, has really started to develop well at left guard. He had some footage about him going into it with Aaron Donald. And, Aaron Donald's always going to win a lot. But what I liked about it was they were absolutely getting into each other. And Aaron Donald actually said after that, they had a couple of scuffles and stuff like that. And Donald said after, he was like, that Connor Williams, he didn't back down one step. And I like that no lineman. If you don't have the talent to beat a guy, at least scrap with him all day, get him frustrated, make him throw some punches, get his game off, Offensively, I like them. Defensively, again, solid on paper. Lawrence can play at a high level. He's shown
they can't be as bad as last year.
There's no way
that's impossible. That's impossible.
Diggs is a solid rookie. He was a solid rookie season. Brown and Lewis, they're solid corners. Are they amazing? No, they're solid. Parsons has looked, if nothing, super athletic and super active in the preseason snaps. Yeah, he flies around. Everyone knows I love Leighton Vander Esch. I think he's a great player. Jalen Smith is the concern. I feel like he's kind of the odd one out there. I don't think he's the same level of athlete, but it's not a bad guy to have as your 3rd linebacker. He's not terrible. And then they brought in, Kazee. I didn't realize they'd signed Malik Hooker from the Colts who had an Achilles tear last year, didn't get picked up by the Colts in their 5th-year option, but he's another good pedigree. Keanu O'Neal, another first-round pick who all came from Dan Quinn's system. They shouldn't be as bad. And you could argue last year this team wins the division if Prescott doesn't get hurt, and they probably win it comfortably.
Going away. The biggest problem, yes, the defense was awful last year, but you've almost buried the lead. And you talk about guys, your entire draft class was spent on the defensive side of the ball. It was linebacker, corner, D-line, D-edge or edge rusher, cornerback, linebacker. It was all defense, and it was all guys from, besides Kelvin Joseph, the corner out of Kentucky, everybody else was from big programs that played in big football games.
Yeah, and they've got guys back. Hill was a second-round pick the year before. Tristan Hill, the D tackle. Randy Gregory is back, and from, again, training camp reports, but from all reports, and Tyron Smith personally said himself, he's been giving me a bath. Like he's been an absolute handful. A lot of people don't understand. Randy Gregory would have been a top 10 pick if he wasn't a total knucklehead. Like the reason he fell to the second round was because he was an idiot and couldn't stop smoking weed. Now all of a sudden, hey, the rules have eased up, and now you got a guy who can be in the league and smoke weed. So he's now performing well. Like, I'm sure he was smoking weed in college when he was dominating college. I almost guarantee.
Of course he was.
Look,
do you want me to put a cherry on it?
Yeah, tell me.
I'll put a cherry on it for you. If Mike McCarthy can get out of the most talented team in the NFC East's way and just let them play, I got more faith in Dan Quinn on the other side of the ball than I do in Mike McCarthy, which I think is saying something. But if McCarthy can just stay out of their way, and Dak is not hurt in any way, like if he comes back, he's healthy, and he's all good, you're staring down the barrel of an 11-win team.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I'm going to give some taste. I've been called in the past for being overly biased towards the Cowboys. And this is, I put up a little bit of a thing. All right. So coaching's a huge concern for me. I don't have any faith in McCarthy. I don't like him at all. I didn't like him when they hired him, and I don't like it now. I think he's vanilla on offense, doesn't create motions, doesn't put players in positions to succeed. Simple as that. Now, could I do a better job? No, but I'm not paid to do it. He is. Dan Quinn, he had one of the crappiest defense in the history of the league 2 years ago, for 2 years running in Atlanta. They won a Super Bowl off the back of Kyle Shanahan and a dominant offense. His defense is not been good. They lost it 25-3. Remember that. They lost.
I was there.
Lawrence hasn't played consistently since he got his contract, whether that be injury or performance. He just has not played at that elite level that he did the year before he got signed. Now, I was banging the door to sign him. I agree. You had to sign him because DNs that played like that as a top 5 defense, you have to sign them. But he hasn't played well. Leighton Vander Esch, love him. I'd marry the guy. But he's hurt. He's inconsistent. He's unreliable. It's Sean Lee all over again for me, and I've been hurt too many times by Sean Lee. I've seen this movie before, Richie. Outstanding linebackers that don't play often. Jalen Smith just isn't the guy he was 2 years ago. It's as simple as that. And because of that, they've had to use the first-round pick on Micah Parsons, who, taking the player out of it, I think he'll be a nice player. But taking an off-ball linebacker in the first round when you have 2 already that you like and you've paid and you've spent pedigree on, that's not the right move as an organization. Then you've got Trayvon Diggs, who everyone was so happy with last year. I'm telling you, I like Diggs. He tried hard and his effort was there, but he got fucking torched all year. I watched every game, most of them 3 or 4 times. He was destroyed by opposition quarterbacks. They went after him. Now, did he try hard and did he get some picks? And yes, all that's there. But you know what? Trying hard doesn't cut it when you have got guys putting 150 and 2 touchdowns on you and you get a pick late in the game when you're down 45-6. Like that shit doesn't win you championships. And then to put the cherry on the top, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, who has the potential. It's not there yet, but he could be the poster boy for why you don't pay running backs. And it was the same when they signed him. I said, don't sign him. Make him play his 4th year, 5th year him, give him a franchise tag and buy your 4 year. You would have been in his 2nd year of his franchise tag this season and had everything in front of you and known what you'd wanted to do. Like, I could argue Pollard, actually, if you look at metrics, Pollard, the backup, is actually more viable as a running back and more productive with his snaps he gets. Now, I love Zeke and I hope he's successful, but there are the issues here. Now, all that being said, they probably win the division because I don't think any other teams are good anyway, and they would have won it last year comfortably if Dak Prescott stayed healthy and the O-line was healthy. So that's just my concerns. I have a lot of worries about them, and I prefer us when we're underdogs, but it just doesn't happen because this division's never good. So that's where I am with them, and I'm worried, Rich. I'm worried. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be as good as people think.
I don't think you have to worry.
Don't look at
There's too much talent in that crappy division. You could fall to 10 wins.
Yeah, we'll see.
I haven't had a good look at your
schedule.
I dig in more to the schedule and things like that, because there are wins and losses in the schedule that just don't count for anything else. So you got to find all those, but without digging too deep into just the fact you play in the East. I know you split a lot of division games, but you also finished second last, so your crossover games are easier. That division sucks, man. I'm telling you. You guys are gonna fall to 10 wins.
We get
tripping over yourselves.
We get Carolina. The Patriots will be tougher in New England too. Minnesota,
When, though?
I'm not high on them. Denver, I'm not. Or we're not. If they got a quarterback, I'm high on them, but I don't know. The Falcons, I'm not high on. Chiefs will be tough. The Raiders at home, I'm not high on. The New Orleans Saints, I'm not high on. The Cardinals, I'm not high on, especially second last game of the season. Their season could be done by then, and Kyler Murray could be turned to dust. So you never know. Let's move on to the New York Giants. I had a bit of a look at these guys today. Just offensively, they made some good additions. Like, you keep in mind they get Saquon Barkley back. I like Evan Engram as a tight end. He's super athletic. Slayton's a great wide receiver. Kenny Golladay is, when he's been healthy in the past, again, he can play at a very high level. Tony, the rookie wide receiver, who they did reach for in the draft, but from all reports, he's an outstanding athlete and a playmaker and could be versatile for them. But none of that helps when you've got the turnover machine in Daniel Jones playing quarterback and an offensive line that I literally sat there trying to find. Like, I like Hernandez. He's tough as nails and he'll hit a guy, but he's not a quality offensive lineman. He's at best an above average starter at best. Like Thomas, again, we've joked about it plenty of times. Andrew Thomas was the third pick in the draft, and the three linemen taken after him have all been comfortably better, include two that were all pros last year. So you can sit there and argue with me, he might turn out all right. They still screwed the pickup. There was better players that everyone thought were better players than Andrew Thomas. Like, the Giants, Gettleman was the only one who thought he was better. So eventually, all that put together, we talked about the Eagles earlier. I'm not confident.
On that.
Yeah.
If you do think that guy's, you've got to trade down. Come on.
Yeah, that's what Gettleman does, though.
If that's your pick. That's your guy.
What they should have done is traded down and
of course.
And then, you know what? One of them would have been
anyway. Just pick him anyway later.
At best, you would have got Jedrick Wills, who's at the Browns, who's proven he's better than Thomas. You know what I mean?
Or worse. It would have been one of those two would have been left to you.
Yeah.
Or the guy you got, or the guy you drafted at 4 or whatever it was. Oh, God, it was idiotic.
It's insane to me, the moves Gettleman's, he's a moron. As I said, I like to quote Mays when he was on. It's like, some GMs, like every other job, they're just not good at their job. You have to understand that sometimes guys just aren't good at their job, and that's the reason why they don't do a good job. Offensively, I'm real worried. What's your thoughts on Daniel Jones? Genuinely, do you think he can turn it around and be a good player?
No. And everyone will point to Josh Allen as a guy who was saying that about, he turned it around.
Using the comparable. No one's ever had the jump that Josh Allen's had in his fucking life. No one's ever had that. That is the biggest outlier in the history of fucking quarterbacks, Josh Allen.
To put it mildly, in the NFL, we kind of either see it straight away or it doesn't happen.
Well, they show something. Like Joe Burrow. Was Joe Burrow amazing last year? No, but you watched him. Zach Wilson's the prime example. He might end up being good, but when I watched him throw the ball the other night, I was like, whoa, that's something there. That Justin Fields, There's something there about him. The way he moved and could throw on the run and direct things and his confidence. Daniel Jones's best play was when he fucking broke out for a long run and then tripped over 15 yards short of the end zone. Like, that's his most memorable play in the NFL. He fumbles. And he's bad. He's not been good.
That stuff never... Oh, me too. That stuff just never leaves you. And call it the eyeball test, call it the we've seen this movie test, whatever you want to say. Once we've kind of seen you and we kind of know what you're going to be, even if you're behind a bad O-line or all these things, you go back and watch Peyton Manning's first year where they lost every single game. He still looked like he was going to be good.
Yeah. No one was going, oh, they've got to move on from Peyton Manning. You know, and I'll flip it with you and say, go and watch Josh Rosen's first season in the NFL. No one was watching him going, yeah, I think he could turn it around. Literally, that's why they were like, we're going to draft someone else.
Yeah,
you know?
They knew they got it wrong. They knew they had it wrong immediately.
Patrick Mahomes had one start his rookie year, the last game of the season, and they basically went, goodbye, all-pro Alex Smith next year. That's literally from one game because you could see it. Talking Giants defensively, I do like their defensive backs. They brought in Adoree Jackson, who's an up and down. You know, he's a streaky guy, but a high pedigree, has played well in the past. McKinney's the first round pick, their slot corner. Bradbury played really well last year as a starting corner. I do like him. Jabril Peppers, who came over from the Browns, again, another really solid guy. Logan Ryan, do I love him? No, but you know, he's a solid guy that works hard and has fit into a scheme. Blake Martinez, he'll tackle a guy. It might be 7 yards downfield, but he's got effort and hustle. Leonard Williams, again, proved a lot of people wrong. Leonard Williams, that ended up being a really good move by Gettleman. I think he kind of lucked into that, to be honest. And now they're paying him a lot, so let's see how he works out. Dexter Lawrence, a solid first-round pick, but again, the issues, I like their back end. They've got some players. Average edge rush, which means if you don't have edge rush, you rely on blitzing. And when you have to rely on blitzing, good teams can then can towel you up and they can scheme against you when they know what you have to do. The scariest defense, and take Bucks for example, is a defense that can rush 4 and get to you every single time. That's when it gets really hard because then you've got a lot of guys in coverage too that can generate turnovers and make things happen. And then you can blitz because you want to blitz, not because you have to. That's what worries me at the defense. I just don't think there's, you talk about the best guy on this defense is probably Leonard Williams. And I don't know if I'm getting hyped about that.
Yeah. I mean, they're too far away at the moment, and they just don't have a good enough quarterback. And I'm going to do a little, shed a little light on it now.
They won 6 games last year. They won 6 games, and I think those games were a reach because I'm pretty sure they beat the Cowboys twice. And I'm telling you, the Cowboys have Prescott. They beat them. So I just don't think they're that good at all.
No, they don't have enough to contend, is what I'm saying. No. They might be okay and
anyone
win
could win
games,
in my opinion.
But I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's only 2 teams can win this division.
But you're right. They're just said there's nothing. When I look at this roster, when I look at is Joe Judge a good coach? does the act work? I saw him in the preseason game. They were having a friendly little interview with him at the start of the game or halftime or something, and he's just so you're not Bill Belichick. Learn from Matt Patricia. You're not fucking Bill Belichick. Learn from all the guys in the past that have failed from it. Brian Flores is a great example. He's not acting like Bill Belichick at all. He's his own guy. And he's been successful so far. But it just shits me, this stoned attitude of I'm a hard ass. I do this. If you fight at practice, you run laps. It doesn't fly. The center Joe Looney, longtime Cowboys center, went to the Giants for one day. For a week, had that fight. They made him run laps all day, so he retired the next day and said, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm just not interested." And I'm just not interested in. We're adults. We're adults playing on a football team. This isn't college. This isn't New England where you get treated like shit and you get worked hard to the bone, but the payoff is Super Bowls. And we're going to see that drop off without Brady there with that guarantee of a Super Bowl. If you can guarantee someone a Super Bowl every second year, you know what? They're going to ride it out for 5 or 6 years and put a few in their pocket and then go and have some fun for other teams. Go and play in Miami and enjoy their time down there, I just think it doesn't work. And I like Joe Judge, and I think he's a good coach. I do, but that hard-ass act, Richie, we've seen it before. When you win, it's great. When you lose, It's not. Ask people who have played for Lane Kiffin. The hard-ass, asshole attitude only works you winning. That's why he's coaching some dog shit college team now.
Oh, that's not true. He's in
Where is he now?
Mississippi.
Where is
He's
he
in
now?
Mississippi.
Is he a head coach still?
Yes, from Mississippi.
Where was he 2 years ago? I thought he was in
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic. Sorry, but are you banging down the door for Mississippi? You reckon are they going to be national champions this year?
Hey, they're playing the SEC, mate. Best place to try and get one.
Everyone plays in the SEC now, Richie. Don't you know?
No, that's not true. Fucking Texas.
Let's move on to the Washington football team. You got to get on the college show with the boys. That's going to be so funny.
Just leave the whole state. They're ruining Texas football.
The Washington football team. I want to start on defense for these guys because I think defense is positive here. They've got some dudes.
They do.
Absolute guys. I think Chase Young he's going to be in contention for a defensive player of the year this year in his second year.
He's so special.
Good.
He's really, so really special.
Good. Yeah. And you've got Allen inside, Payne inside, two big, both former first-round picks as well inside. And then Montez Sweat, who's a really good speed rusher, who's another first-round pick. So you got 4 first-round picks starting on the edge. It's pretty loaded. Bostic's good. I think they drafted a linebacker with their first.
Yeah, Jamin Davis. They just kept loading up.
Yeah, so they're loading up. Landon Collins, who's a guy that I like at safety. I think, is he what he was at the Giants those couple of years? No, but he's still really solid. Fuller, a really solid corner, goes inside a lot, but can play everywhere. And they bring in William Jackson from the Bengals, who, again, another high pick that wasn't a bust in Cincinnati. He certainly wasn't a bust. Again, similar to Adoree Jackson, very streaky, but can make plays. And under a team that's going to have a very good pass rush, that's fun playing defensive back when you know that guys are going to get there. So defensively, I like them a lot. I even like Kelly Holcomb. I reckon he's a real solid linebacker. He might be the best 55 in the league because he plays every week, other than Leighton Vander Esch. I don't know. I like their defense a lot. I think they have the potential to be a top 5 defense, things going well. But they were very good last year, Richie, and what we know about defenses it's very difficult to back it up. And normally when the hype's on a defense, that's when they hurt you. That's when they let you down. It's normally defenses that pop up out of nowhere that are really good. You know, it's hard to be a consistent defense for a long time. That's why teams like the Legion of Boom, you know, the 85 Bears, you know, those years, the Steel Curtain, that's why they're such a big deal, because keeping those things together for so long is really, really challenging as a defense. That's a concern.
Yeah, and to put a little bit more context on that for you, they were the number 2 defense, I think, come the end of last year, which is obviously extremely high. But one of the more interesting things about them is, whilst, yes, the defense was good, their turnover differential was still in the negatives.
Yeah.
So that's positive for that defense. So whilst they did generate turnovers, their ranking wasn't all turnover based or scores from turnovers. If you look at Tampa's defensive ranking from last year, whilst, yes, they were really good and they're very talented, tons of good turnover differential and scoring defense to help drive the number up. Now, Washington didn't have that. So their good ranking was just through
not necessarily
everyday good football play.
Yeah.
Getting off the field on third down.
Which is Ron Rivera's thing. That's been Ron Rivera's thing. He will make you a good football team. But you need some elite players around you. Now, Chase Young, I believe, is elite. I really do. I don't know if there's anyone else on that defense that's going to... I think if you could stop Chase Young... Basically, if you can stop this defensive line, you can make some things happen against them, which is harder said than done. But after that, there's not a lot of guys I'm like super, super concerned about. But the D-line's a concern. And that's something you can build off. That's what we always say. You build from the inside out. I'm not going to bag them for doing that.
Well, and you talked about if you can get there with 4, and know you can get there with 4, you can do so much in the back end. They can get there with 4. No doubt. Mate. That Tampa line last year was good, and in that wildcard game, they got after them. So
they gave them a fight.
I think Washington's defense could be very good, and if a few things more go their way, I mean, I know you talked about defense doesn't necessarily return the following year.
No. I think this one will. I think they'll be a top 10 defense.
But I think if they can generate some more turnovers, they can take themselves to that elite level as that one-off flash in the pan, and it could definitely happen next year. I do think that linebacking core and the back end are good enough to take advantage of what that front four is going to give them. Bad passes, early passes, tip balls, all that stuff.
You're going to have 7 guys back there doing it.
Exactly, and that's a huge plus. I would think they will average the year giving up less than 21 points a game.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
And that puts you in a winning position. And while we're talking about a winning position, flip over the other side. They know they didn't have it at the quarterback position, and they probably know they still don't have it. But they went and got the best placemaker. They went and got the best placemaker, placeholder, I should probably say, in the NFL, in Fitzmagic.
But here's the thing with Fitzpatrick, and you know I'm a big Fitzmagic fan. I enjoy him. Where has he ever had team success? Never. The best year he ever had was at the Jets, and they won 10 games or 9 games and just missed out on the playoffs. So this is the issue, right? He does have a high turnover rate. That's been his downfall of his entire career. It's why teams haven't made him a franchise quarterback. When he is hot, he is fun and he makes plays. And these guys have the receivers to do that. Curtis Samuel is, an electric receiver. McLaurin can take the top off. He's got elite speed, and Humphreys will be that solid white slot guy that, his best season of his career was in Tampa Bay with Fitzpatrick, where I think he caught about 100 passes. So there's continuity there. Their offensive line, I love Sheriff at right guard. Other than that, you've got a rookie right tackle in Cosme. I think it was a 3rd-round pick. We'll see. Leno Jr., I saw him play at the Bears at left tackle. He's not a guy. He's a journeyman. I don't think he's the answer. And running backs, I like Gibson. He's a hard running guy. They're going to have to rely on the running game and be tough inside. They're going to rely on running game and play action for big plays. But Fitzpatrick's going to turn the ball over. That's the bottom line. And you need to have a defense that can survive that a lot. And turnovers, as you just went through before, Richie, turnovers are the killers of good defenses because it puts them in positions where where they put them in short fields where they can give up points easier. That's what kills defenses. So I think Washington are the only team that can compete for the division. I believe that they're going to be good based off that defense. But if I'm a Washington fan, I'm not getting excited about Fitzpatrick being my quarterback consistently over the space of a season.
Well, look, he's never played in a playoff game ever in his career. He's never made the playoffs.
Been on some shitty teams, though, to be fair.
Yes, exactly. Now, if we just look at Washington last year, they won 7 games, and they were 1-5 when Dwayne Haskins started. Like, just think about that for a minute.
Dwayne Haskins is the 4th string for the Steelers right now.
And that's what I'm talking about. The quarterback play was so bad for them last year.
You're right. They only have to get solid.
Only has to be okay.
But that's Fitz's
and
problem
they can compete.
In the past. He can't just be okay. He's either got to be all or he's. Yeah. There was a game last year he threw 4 interceptions and got benched. Like he's going to do that.
And he might do it again. But also, the week before, he probably threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he does that for 10 games, you probably win all 10 of them.
I guess. Can we, all right, let's settle. His glass is half full as a quarterback for your team, but that also means it's half empty. Yeah. So this could really go either way. And I would think if I'm a Washington fan, I'm not excited that Fitzmagic is potentially going to start 17 games for me, but he can at least hold the reins till you get one.
Yeah. But if this is the problem, though, if you get into this topsy-turvy world where you never have a low pick, you never get one.
We'll just take them all and go get one.
Yeah.
Just take all your picks and go get one.
Yeah, because contrary to popular belief, guys like Prescott's and Russell Wilson's just don't happen very often. Even Andy Dalton in the 2nd round doesn't happen very often. Like guys like that, you don't get 10-year starters out of the first round, outside of the first round very often.
They're really hard. I mean, you could something like Tampa, I think, took the Florida quarterback, Trask, I can't remember.
Old Kylie.
And I think they took him in the 3rd round or something like that.
Yeah.
He'll never start meaningful games for Tampa. He just won't.
No.
Like,
it just doesn't happen. There's outliers, but
it just
it doesn't
tends
happen
not to. No, and you can't make the exception the rule. If you're going to be the what about Prescott guy, well then, I mean, that's luck. You know, he ended up in a good situation with an outstanding O-line and an outstanding rookie running back behind him, who made stuff happen. He's playing way better right before he blew his ankle out than he ever was as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So he landed in the right situation, and quite frankly, so did Russell Wilson, because that defense was elite.
100% he did. He played behind the best defense in the league for 5 years. They were people. If you have forgotten how good the Legion of Boom were, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Like they were literally terrifying for people. Like guys were going to play them going because not only could they outplay you, they would just kick the shit out of you. Like Cam Chancellor is arguably one of the best safeties to ever play the game, and people just have forgotten about him. Earl Thomas. Richard Sherman in his prime, like God,
When he was good.
Fuck, he was good. Like they were just unbelievable.
Yeah. They got to land in an amazing situation, and he only had to beat out Matt Flynn. Yeah. Let's not forget that he only had to beat out Matt Flynn. So you got to land in
that contract because he broke the touch. He tied the touchdown record in the last game of the season when they rested Rodgers.
You just have to land in the right situation. Either of those two guys could have landed somewhere with an established starter and they were drafted in the 4th round instead of the 3rd.
Never hear of him again.
Never would have heard of him again.
Well, Prescott's a prime example. If Romo doesn't get hurt, we never see him.
Yeah,
who
probably
knows?
not.
Romo might still be playing if he never get hurt that
Who
year.
knows? And that's the biggest thing. So you can't rely on drafting those. You got to go get the top ones. And if you have to do it the Brown style, where you're drafting one every bloody year till you hit on one, then so be it. That's what you have to do. So if you are Washington, where you're building yourself a bit of a window because you've got a really good defense and an exceptional D line, then I don't know, take the Rams approach and spend 2 first-rounders and 2 seconds spread over a couple of years and see if you can get up to the top and pick the best one coming out of college and hope he's good enough.
Yep. No, I agree. All right, Richie, give us your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's not 5 teams in the East. Just so.
Cowboys, football team, Giants, Eagles.
I'm so fucking terrified of this, but as I said, the Cowboys they have too much talent. As I said,
I'll put them in the Super Bowl for you and muzz you again.
Don't you dare. I got Cowboys, Washington, Eagles, Giants. I'm really not high on the Giants. Daniel Jones, I think there's a chance Daniel Jones doesn't even start all 17 games for them. And not because of injury, because they bench him. That's how I just have zero confidence in him. I think that team could be blown up next year if it goes poorly. Gettleman's a shit show. I said I like Judge, but said no one likes an asshole when you're losing. It's as simple as that. And if you go into you have your 3rd losing season in a row, doesn't matter how tough you think you are or how tough you instill on your players, you just don't last. So that's my worry. But no, that's stupid. I've got Giants, Eagles. Eagles are last. They're going to be terrible. All right, that's it. Want to thank again Burnley Brewing, our amazing sponsors. I've had the Pale Ale tonight. Fuck, it's good. Just a solid beer. You're getting into that. Our good friends Dylan, Dark Horse Electrics, all below, guys, in the description. If you're on video or podcast, get down there. Go and show them some love on all the social medias. Give them a follow. Sort them out. He said if you need some electrical work done and you live in Melbourne, get on to Dylan. He is outstanding. Get on to him. And thanks to all our patrons for signing up. Love you guys, and best of luck for the Keenan Allen jersey, which will be coming up. Still half a month away. So, hey, guys, get signed up. All right, get signed up. Tell your friends, and really appreciate all the guys who support us there. Richie, thank you very much, mate. Love your work. You will see us next Monday night. We're going to do both the Norths in the same night. So we're going to be flying through the North.
Fire.
And then the next week we have prediction show. And then just so you guys know, for the season on a Sunday night, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a live show with previewing the next morning's games. Just a live show on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all our platforms. Just going through the games. It'll be a different person every week who's going to come on with me. Not necessarily always a Vault person either. Try and get a guest on a lot and do that on Sunday nights. That's the plan for that first week. So I have the Extravaganza show, Sunday night live show, then obviously Fantasy Football Podcast. Get around them. They did their first episode for the season over the weekend. So get around Corey and Lewis. The college football boys are doing all their previews. College football kickoff next week, Rich?
Week after,
the week before the NFL. Is that right? Yeah. So that season's coming up. So, hey, if you want your content, you find it here at the Vault Studios. And Richie, thank you as always. And thank you everyone for tuning in.